Welcome back, everybody. Today I'm going to be putting out a couple swarm traps. I always use my empty hives to do this. Last year I had a lot of bear damage, and I'll actually put the video in here and show you some of that so you can see kind of how the year went. But I have two empty hives. Actually, I have three. I have a top bar hive that's empty, but it's kind of over in the area where I already keep my bees, and I'm not going to move it because it's on legs and everything, and it's just kind of a pain. But I'm going to take these two empty 8-frame hives, and I'm going to use those. Now, normally I like to have drawn out comb inside of these. That seems to attract the bees a little bit better. I do have some old frames in here that have a little bit of comb in there. But like I said, the bears, they pretty much destroyed most of what I had last year. So I'm kind of starting fresh with like everything. I normally don't do foundation inside of my frames. I normally let them draw it out themselves. I usually just put a lip inside of my frame at the top and the bottom, and I coat them with wax. Just kind of a starter strip for the bees, and they draw everything out themselves normally. I picked up some frames and foundation this year just because, like I said, I'm kind of starting over with a lot of new stuff just because of all the damage. And so I want to make it at least look a little bit more attractive as a swarm trap. I should have had these out about 2 weeks ago. My hive that did overwinter, it has actually swarmed twice already this year, and today is the last day of April. So, you know, tomorrow we start May 1st, and in my area, we usually get swarms up until June, and then there's usually a bunch more in the fall, but the ones in the fall generally don't make it too well, just because our winters are so long. But we'll get them out. Regardless, these are empty hives, so if something moves in, great. If not, no big deal. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these tops off, and I'm going to just kind of divvy up these frames. Like I said, here's some old stuff here that, you know, still have some good aroma for them, and I'm going to just kind of mix these up and do like a every other scenario. Just find some that have a little bit of wax on them so there's something for them to smell. So I'm going to take these two out. I'm going to put 4 frames inside of each of these from previous hives, just so there is that scent in there. And then I'm going to use, since these are 8 frames, I'm going to use 4 frames from that I just put together with foundation in there, and that'll just be a nice little separation. It smells like beeswax, and like I said, you know, normally I like to have drawn out frames in here with a little brood comb, but this is what we've got to work with. So I'm gonna grab those frames and get them stuck in here. Okay, I've got 8 frames here with the wax coated foundation, and like I said, I'm just gonna put these in every other. This hive here is actually an old flow hive. I did not have good luck with that at all. And might just be my area, but 3 years in a row, I tried to make it work. I actually really wanted it to work, but it did not. Very, very poor success with that. So I just turned it into a regular 8-frame hive. I'm gonna probably get a different lid for it. I don't like this cover that comes with it. It leaks like crazy. It's kind of always leaked. It's literally just a wood, basically it's like a wood shingled cover. I did put a waterproofing on it, but it was not the greatest. So I'm gonna get a new cover for it, but other than that, you can turn it into a regular hive, it's fine. A lot of propolis stuck to some of these frames. And I just try to kind of keep them spaced in the middle. There we go. I'll throw these covers back on. And one of these I'm just going to put out in my yard over by some apple trees. And then the other one I'm going to actually put up in an apple tree. So we will take you along and show you that. Alright, so here's the first little swarm trap I'm putting out. It's not very high off the ground. I usually like to try to keep these at least like 5 feet off the ground. Usually go between 5 and 8 feet, but I did catch a swarm here before, so it can be done and it does happen. These are right around a bunch of apple trees, so there's going to be a lot of activity around here in the next few days whenever the weather warms back up again. You can see there's apples here and there, big apple here, lots of apples there. So it's in a good location for honeybees to find it and notice it. The only other thing I do other than sitting it out, sorry, the goats are coming. The only other thing that I like to do is I like to open the hive up and put some lemongrass oil in there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and open this up. Take this cover off, and I've got some lemongrass oil here. I usually take a Q-tip and I just cut it in half. And then it fits right up in that little hole. And I get the oil on it. And then I just throw it right down inside onto the bottom. That's just another little attractant you can use. Some people call it swarm lure, whatever. There's an entrance on my inner cover, so I always make sure my cover is pushed all the way to the front, so there's also a second entrance in there. So this one's ready to go. We'll put up the next one. Alright, this is where my next trap's gonna go. We're in some more apple trees here on the one side of my field, and I can actually hear bees. I put it up on this branch here, and then I have it facing this direction, which is a south-facing direction. That's usually, I try to keep everything south-facing. Like I said, I also try to keep it up off the ground, especially around here. We have a lot of bears, and that never used to be a problem, but is actually a really big problem now. Like I said, we had a lot of problems last year. So I'm gonna get the lemongrass oil on the Q-tip, get that put in there, and then we'll get it set up in this tree and strapped in. You can see it on there. It smells really good. Down into the bottom. There is no upper entrance on that hive, so I don't have to worry about the lid or anything. The biggest thing that you want to worry about is getting it level in the tree. It's pretty good level there, so I'm going to go ahead and just get it strapped in. I use ratchet straps usually. They work really well. Then I use two, and then I just crisscross them. There, that's good and secure. And I'm 6 foot tall. This is about to the top, you know, 6.5 foot. So it's a pretty good height. Like I said, south facing. We're in a lot of apple trees again here too. And show you around there. This is actually a big apple tree here as well. So yeah, got it up there, ready to go. If we catch any swarms, I'll bring you guys back along with me, but this is really all I do, other than, like I said, I normally like to have old drawn out brood comb in there. Just that smell really attracts the bees, and you know, it's natural for them. It makes them, you know, realize it's a good home to be in. So I've got some old stuff in there, plus some new, you know, foundation. At least it, you know, gives the real feel, I guess. So we'll see what happens. If you enjoyed this video, you know, hope you come back for more. So if we catch a swarm, we'll bring you back and show you how we take her down and take it back to the bee yard. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Have a good day.